Back in high school, Brandon Billings won 2 state championships but was left without a Division I offer going into college. Only one team would offer Brandon Billings a preferred walk-on, and he would later go to Maryland, where he would take the starting role and lead the team to a national championship in his second season. After transferring to Tennessee in his junior season, he would also lead this team to a championship, and he was ready for the NFL draft. Brandon Billings would get drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round at pick number 25, and he would have to lead this team with 2 great wide receivers. After having an amazing rookie season, Brandon Billings would make it all the way to the NFC Championship, where he would take on the Dallas Cowboys and get blown out 55-7. In week 1 of our second season, we would be taking on Detroit Lions, and Brandon Billings only has the Super Bowl on his mind this year. After building a lot of chemistry with his wide receivers and tight ends in the offseason, Brandon Billings truly felt like he was already in midseason form, as he was dominating the Detroit Lions on the first offensive series of the game, as we would already end in a touchdown. Our defense would get a stop, and Brandon Billings would like to put up another score on the board, as he would hit 2 wide receivers back-to-back plays over the middle, and we're already moving on the second drive. With great field position on an early first down in the red zone, we are looking to hit a corner route and would have some accuracy issues, and Brandon Billings would force the next play and throw his first interception of the season. The Detroit Lions would later bounce back with a touchdown, and we need to put points on the board before this halftime comes out, and we would find Mike Evans down the seam for our second touchdown of the game. In the second half, only leading by 1 point, Brandon Billings would throw a dime past the safety on the sideline, and Mike Evans would take it all the way for now our third touchdown. Detroit would later score a touchdown but missed the 2-point conversion, and we would throw one of our best throws of the season, but Chris Godwin would fumble it, and it looks like we're going to have ourselves a game. Our defense would luckily get a stop after the fumble, and we need to score a touchdown here to put the dagger in this game, and Brandon Billings would do so himself on this scramble, and we now led by 2 possessions. After a 4-touchdown game, Brandon Billings would start the season off 1-0, and we need to continue this to make the playoffs. Knowing we took a heartbreaking loss in the playoffs last year, Brandon Billings is super locked in this season, and so is the entire Tampa Bay roster, and we would be taking on the New Orleans Saints, a division rival, in week 2. After starting off the season with 4 touchdowns and 1 interception, Brandon Billings had all the confidence in the world, and he would be looking to take it out in the first drive of the game, as we would take one of our biggest rushes of our career in the NFL for around 20 yards. Just like the first game against the Lions, we were looking to score on the opening drive of the game and set the momentum going, and we would do so, finding Zay Flowers in the end zone for an easy, quick score. Our special teams would recover a fumble on the kickoff, and Brandon Billings would throw a touchdown, but would be later called for throwing the ball past the line of scrimmage. Trying to rebound after the penalty, Brandon Billings would try to be too cute, throwing the ball on the run, and would throw his second interception of the entire season. Our defense would be holding the New Orleans Saints to 0 points in the entire first and second quarter, and we would look to top off this half with a touchdown to take a 14-point lead, and we would be able to do so, throwing on the run once again, but this time not an interception. The Saints offense could not score at all this game, as we'd be looking to take a 21-point lead in the third quarter, and we would throw it to our tight end, ncaa, who would go all the way down at the 2-yard line, and we are looking to score here. Still being a young quarterback in the league, Brandon Billings would try to force this ball in way too late, and Marshawn Lattimore would jump it for an interception. The New Orleans Saints would make a quick run to try to tie this game up, but Brandon Billings had other ideas in mind, as he would hit Chris Godwin wide open in the end zone to put the dagger late in the fourth. With 7 total touchdowns in the first 2 games of the season, Brandon Billings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking real hot this season as they start 2-0. Heading into game 3 as the early season MVP favorite, Brandon Billings is looking to dominate, as he would come in this game with a deficit of 7 points. Always seems like Brandon Billings' best drive of the game is always the first drive, as he is always hitting dots and moving down the field quickly, as Mike Evans would catch that in front of the defender and take it for far distance. Looking to continue his opening drive touchdown streak, we would hit our tight end ncaa wide open, and then later find Chris Godwin wide open in the end zone to get our first touchdown of the game and continue our streak. The Bears are looking real good on offense, as they already have 10 quick points on the board, and Brandon Billings on this 3rd and 16 would get hit as he throws, and we have to have our first punt of the season. Coming out of halftime, we had our biggest deficit of the season by 10 points, and we are looking to start off hot in the second half, and we would hit our tight end in back-to-back plays for huge gains. With Brandon Billings looking much better already in the third quarter, we would find Chris Godwin wide open and follow that up with a wide open Rashad White on an angle route, and we would score our touchdown and cut this down to a 3-point lead. The Bears would continue to be dominant on offense, as they would score another touchdown and lead by 10 again with only a minute left in the third, but Brandon Billings would have his biggest run of the season on this play. We need to score with urgency now being in the fourth quarter. We would find a seam shot over the middle, and Rashad White would be wide open again on the same route and have his second touchdown of the game to cut this back down to a 3-point lead. Chicago would settle for a field goal and only lead by 6, so a touchdown would win us the game, and we would have a seam shot to Chris Godwin, who would catch it and take it all the way. Our defense would hold the Bears to 0 points on the money drive, and we would go on to win our 3rd game of the season and also remain undefeated. But in the next game, we'd be taking on the hottest offense in the league, as they just added DeAndre Hopkins, and they also have Cooper Kupp. This is going to be a tough matchup. Heading into this game, Brandon Billings in this Tampa Bay O has scored on every single first possession, But on this 3rd and 2, Aaron Donald would get to the quarterback, and this would be the first time settling for 3. Continuing into the second drive of offense, Aaron Donald would continue to dominate as he would force a fumble on 3rd and 10, and we would have to punt for the second time of the game. We need to put some points up on the 3rd drive here as we would hit Mike Evans over the middle, and we would try to target him on this next play, hitting him in the same spot, but the safety would read it and pick us off, and this is looking to be a bad game for Brandon Billings. Now trailing by 10 points, we are looking to get some points on the board, and we would get sacked by Bobby Wagner, and then on the next time we get a first down, Aaron Donald would force his second fumble of the game, and this is looking awful. With our biggest deficit of the season, Aaron Donald would get his 4.5 sack of the game, but we would finally respond on a touchdown later in that drive to cut the lead to 17-7, but we would later lose and fall to 4-1 in the season. In our next game of the season, we would be taking on a division rival who also had the MVP last year, Taylor Heineke, and we need to bounce back after that last game. The Falcons also sit at 4-1, so we have to take this game very seriously as we would find our tight end wide open, and then Rachaad White would take this ball and run it all the way inside the 5-yard line, and we are looking to score here. After not scoring in the first possession last game, we made sure to do so right here as we hit Mike Evans for a quick slant and tied this game up at 7 apiece. With our defense getting a stop, we are looking to take the lead on this next drive, and we would find a seam shot wide open. We are already in enemy territory. Looking to capitalize off the big play, we would throw a back shoulder throw to Cade Otton, who we are building insane chemistry with, and we already have more touchdowns than we did last game. Our offense has looked great so far through this game, and we are looking good against the blitz, and another play we've been working on has been these back shoulder throws in the practices, and we are looking to capitalize them, as that is our second one already this game. Finding ourselves in the red zone, we would take a quick dump off to our wide receiver who would get us inside the 5-yard line, and our veteran Leonard Fournette would score his first touchdown of the season. With only 30 seconds remaining in the first half, we are looking to take a 2-possession lead once again, and Zay Flowers would split the safeties and take it all the way, and we score our 4th touchdown of the half. Atlanta being one of the best offenses in the league, they are keeping this game very close, and we would have to continue putting up points every single drive or else we would lose this game. Brandon Billings is looking for his 5th touchdown of the game, and he would do so on this next play, hitting Zay Flowers once again down the sideline, and Brandon Billings is on fire. With our defense finally getting a stop, knowing a score or putting points on the board would probably end this game, Brandon Billings put his locked-on face, and we would look to go score once again. Later in the drive, we would take an awful throw after getting hit, but Chris Godwin would bail us out, and we would find ourselves on the 1-yard line. We would later hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette on the goal line once again, and he would score his 2nd touchdown of the game, and this looks to be the dagger. And now with our 5th win on the season, Brandon Billings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like the clear shot #1 seed in the NFC. Fast forwarding to the playoffs, Brandon Billings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would end up being the #1 seed 2 years in a row, and we'd look to make it past the NFC Championship this time. Brandon Billings would turn into a true gunslinger in this league as he would lead the league in yards, touchdowns, and also interceptions. After having an amazing season and also leading the Buccaneers to the #1 seed, Brandon Billings would barely finish in the top 5 for the league MVP as he would trail behind Josh Allen. After the bye week, we would be taking on a division rival in the Atlanta Falcons, and we did sweep them during the regular season, but Brandon Billings knows this is not going to be no easy matchup, and we have to win this one. Brandon Billings would start this game off on fire as he would hit Zay Flowers in the slot, and he would go all the way for a touchdown on the first play of the game. Brandon Billings came into this game with a chip on his shoulder after getting snubbed so hard for the MVP voting, and he would look to dominate in this one as he would find his 2nd touchdown of the game very early into the first quarter. With our defense playing amazing as well, we would hit Chris Godwin in the slot, and he would go all the way again. Brandon Billings had to do nothing on this play as his wide receivers have been backpacking him all game long. The Bucs would go on to have their best offensive game of the season as we would go on and score multiple passing touchdowns as we would score 49 points in this total game and hold their offense to only 14 points. We would move on to the next round. We would be taking on the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship, where we choked and lost 55-7, and Brandon Billings and this Tampa Bay team does remember that, and they are looking to take back this trophy. Brandon Billings would start this game off losing by 7 points, but we would look to score quickly as we would find Chris Godwin on back-to-back plays and already be inside of enemy territory. Trying to tie this game up on a 3rd and 10, we would just chuck the ball up to our best wide receiver, Mike Evans, and he would absolutely bail us out to tie this game up. The San Fran offense would put up another touchdown, and we would be down by 7 once again, but we would find our tight end quickly, and Brandon Billings would use his legs on the next play, juke out a defender, but fumble the ball, and he would luckily pick it back up himself. Leonard Fournette would struggle to score on the 1-yard line against this strong San Fran front, but we would find Mike Evans on our classic slant we always run on the goal line. Heading into the 4th quarter, it is tied at 14 apiece, and we're going to find Rachaad White, who will do all the work for us and take us all the way to the 50. Starting to pick up what the San Francisco defense is doing, Brandon Billings started hitting the seams and getting us inside the 5-yard line, where we would toss it over to Leonard Fournette, and he would do the rest, and we would take a 7-point lead. Closing in on the end of the 3rd quarter, we would hit Mike Evans on a big post route, and we are looking to put some points up on the board as we would hit him once again, and we are already in field goal range. We would start chewing the clock out and end up winning this game after we would kneel it on the next play, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would go on to win. Only Brandon Billings' second year in the league, and he is already heading to a Super Bowl and finishing in the top 5 MVP twice. This is looking to be a big game inside of his career. Brandon Billings' first ever Super Bowl, he'll be taking on the Indianapolis Colts, which also have a young quarterback at Anthony Richardson. This should be a fun matchup. After being a Heisman winner and a college football championship winner, Brandon Billings knows and has all the experience of winning a big game like this, and we'd have to do it starting on offense. Our special teams would give us great field position, and we would hit Chris Godwin on the first play of the game that would get us inside the 15, and then Brandon Billings would break out of the pocket and scramble all the way inside the 5-yard line and score a touchdown for his first ever touchdown in the Super Bowl. Despite the hot start, on the second drive of the game, Brandon Billings would get hit as he throws, and he would throw an interception in the Super Bowl, and they would already be in good field position. Now trailing by 3, Brandon Billings is looking to score as he would hit a huge shot down the sideline that would get us all the way inside the 20, and then we would hit a seam shot to take the lead back once again. Anthony Richardson and the Colts offense could not stop scoring as we would have to keep on scoring to keep this game on close, and we would hit a big touchdown right before half to take a lead. In the second half, Brandon Billings and the Tampa Bay offense turned it up even another gear as we would find Mike Evans for our second touchdown right here, and we would go all the way and have a double possession lead in this game. We started to dominate in this game as we would keep on finding touchdowns and touchdowns and touchdowns. Now leading up 35-24, we would find another one, and that would be the dagger. After winning a Heisman and 2 college football championships, Brandon Billings is adding to his resume as he wins his first Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, and this is a great season to end off on his sophomore year. If you enjoy RTGs like this, make sure to hit that like and hit that subscribe as we have way more to come.